I'm America's Digital Pro, Kim Commando. Welcome to Tech News This Week, a podcast that gets right to the top stories, the scams, the security alerts, and crazy happenings in the world of tech. Coming up in Tech News This Week, we'll give you another frightening example of how Facebook is breaching its users' privacy. Geez, you're not going to believe it. Well, is it time to leave social media altogether? You might think so after hearing about this.
I'm Mike James. We're also going to tell you about a computer program language that's nearly 60 years old but is still popular today. It might just be your key to a new career.
Plus, the number of calls to your cell phone that are scams is expected to explode next year. Later on, we'll tell you how to protect yourself from these dangerous calls.
The long lines, uncomfortable seats, people coughing, and on occasion, rude airline employees. Well, coming up, Kim looks at how some airlines are trying new ways to help passengers relieve stress during flights. Kim is also going to tell you about Google's targeted ads and give you ways to make them stop. All of that and much more coming up on Tech News This Week from Commando.com.
We'll start with another example of Facebook breaching its members' privacy. Geez, it wasn't too long ago that we found out about the Cambridge Analytica fiasco. You might remember that's when Facebook handed over this treasure trove of our information that was used to influence political campaigns. Well, now as it turns out, the social media giant is giving away our sensitive information to other companies, advertisers, so that this way they can better target us with ads. That's nothing new. We've known that companies have been doing this for years. But Facebook is being a bit more shady about this than you'd expect. You see, here's what's happening. It's collecting information about you that you didn't even give them yourself. That's right, Facebook has found a backdoor way to collect data that you didn't know was possible. Here's what happened. A team of researchers recently studied what Facebook knows about you and how they get the information. Boy, I have to tell you, their findings are shocking. You might think the only personal information that Facebook has on you is what you give them on the contact and basic information page. Well, surprise, that's not the case. The researchers discovered that if you give your phone number or email address to other companies, get this, they can be uploaded to Facebook, which then Facebook ties to your account. That's how you see some ads on the site, and you get that creepy feeling that you're being watched. Well, because you are. Facebook even takes your phone number that you use when you set up for that two-factor authentication. It's hard to believe that they would cross that line. Facebook says, oh, it's not our problem anymore because now you can do two-factor authentication by email, not your phone. Well, odds are all of us have already given our phone number to Facebook. Another scary finding is that if one of your friends has your information in their contacts, well, it can be used by Facebook too. And there's nothing you can do about it. Since it's on someone else's account, you don't have an easy way to delete it. One of the researchers said their most surprising finding that Facebook was targeting ads with information that was not directly provided by the user or even revealed to the user. Okay, let's face facts. Facebook is in a tailspin. Maybe it's time that you thought about deleting it altogether from your life. If you need help doing that, we've got some tips over at Commando.com. And I have to tell you, I deleted my personal Facebook account. And what a breath of fresh air it's been. We've got more tech news ahead, but now a quick thank you to one of our amazing partners in this podcast, Casper Sleep.
Have you ever heard of COBOL programming language? It stands for Common Business-Oriented Language and was developed in 1959. You wouldn't think technology nearly 60 years old would still be relevant, but it is. And if you want to get into the computer programming business, this just might be your ticket in. It's because the younger generation isn't very interested in learning such old programming language. They tend to focus on the newer languages that run the gaming world. And what gives COBOL programmers an advantage is the fact that it's the most prevalent programming language in the financial services industry worldwide. It powers millions of banking transactions every day, plus it's not going away anytime soon. Replacing banking systems that are already in place is a very complicated and costly venture that most companies don't even want to think about, which makes COBOL programmers a highly sought-after commodity. Now, you might want to look into it if you've been thinking about changing careers. More tech news from Commando.com is coming up in just a moment. Microsoft has a huge update for Windows 10 coming in October, and we've got much more tech news to tell you about.
Right now, a quick thank you from one of our partners in this podcast, Molecule.
Well, some people really love their gadgets, and you won't believe just how much. Here's Commando.com's Spike Spangle.
Sadly, a 25-year-old Russian woman passed away a couple of years ago from an unknown illness. She was such a big fan of her iPhone that her father had a special memorial design to let everyone know. She was buried at a local cemetery with a spectacular headstone. It stands 5 feet tall and is a replica of an iPhone. It even has the Apple logo on the back side. On the front is the woman's screensaver that was left on her phone. The beautiful picture is a selfie of her with her name, along with the date she was born and passed away. The headstone is so lifelike it's shocking other mourners. One person said, "I thought I was having hallucinations." Even though some people are startled by what they see, it truly is a touching tribute.
Hey, if you haven't heard, Microsoft will be releasing an update to Windows 10 next month. If you don't want to wait, there is a way to get it now. It's recommended you do wait until Windows 10 version 1809 actually does roll out on schedule, since that will give Microsoft time to work out all the bugs. But if you just can't wait, here's how you get it early. First, you'll need to download Microsoft's Media Creation tool. The tech giant recently updated it to deliver Windows 10 version 1809 directly. Just download it and run it afterward to update the system or to create installation media to install it on another computer, and that's it. Now you have the Windows update early, and if you want to see what's coming in the new version, head to Commando.com and read our story on how to download Microsoft's big October update now. And here we go again, more bad news in the world of robocalls. According to the company First Orion, the number of scam calls are going to seriously increase very soon. Last year, under 4% of all mobile calls were scams. This year, that number mushroomed to nearly 30%. And that's not the scariest news. In 2019 is going to be even worse. The total number of scam mobile calls made next year is expected to be almost 45% more. But you don't have to just sit back and take it. There are ways to combat these scams before they have the chance to cause headaches. One way is to use call blocking apps that identify who is calling and block the ones that you don't want to receive. But there are many other things that you can do. For a complete list of ideas, just go to Commando.com and search for Kim's column entitled 7 Ways to Finally End Robocalls. You'll find tons of great information there that will help stop those annoying, dangerous calls once and for all. The latest iPhone models started rolling out last week, but there appears to be a major flaw in some of the devices. Here again is Spike Spangle.
Some of those who bought either the iPhone XS or XS Max have taken to social media to complain about poor Wi-Fi and cell signal strength. They are saying that older models like the iPhone 7 or the X had better signal strength than the new ones, and it doesn't seem to matter which carrier they have. All of them are having problems. There's even a tech blog backing up their complaints. In a recent post, it said that testing in a lab environment found that the new iPhones have a significantly weaker signal than last year's iPhone 8, which is surprising because the XS and XS Max have one more antenna band built in than those models. The new phones just started rolling out last week, so Apple hasn't had time to address the issue yet. Hopefully, it can fix it with a simple software update.
Hey, if you use an internet-connected computer at work, you probably find yourself doing non-work related stuff online every now and then that could end up costing you some very serious cash. Maybe you take a quick peek at your Facebook page, send a personal email or two, or buy that new Roomba from Amazon. Employees who do this might be tech savvy enough to know to clear their computer's browsing history, but that's probably not enough to keep you from getting into trouble with the boss. According to the Society for Human Resource Management, 2/3 of U.S. companies monitor employees for email infractions, and about half of them have fired workers as a result. Many companies are using tracking devices to read their employees' emails. To be honest, everything that you're doing on your work computer probably is being watched by your employer. Even if you're lucky enough to work from home, if your company paid for your work computer, they probably are watching you. So what you do online while you're supposed to be working might impact performance reviews, raises, promotions, even a bonus that you were expecting. A recent survey showed that employees assumed performance reviews would be most affected if they were caught wasting time online. But employers said differently. They said bonuses are impacted more by wasted time, so you might want to think twice twice before emailing those dinner party invitations while you're at work. Want more information on this? We have a new podcast called Cyber Law Now, and Stephen Tepler, an expert privacy attorney, will talk to a former FBI agent about this. Just go to podnet.com, look for the Cyber Law Now podcast, and I believe that was episode 1 or 2.
As our airlines are seemingly making flying more miserable by the day, they have a bright idea to soothe everyone's frazzled nerves. The long lines, uncomfortable seats, people coughing, the pushing. And some airline employees can be downright rude. To bring Zen to the skies, American Airlines, the world's largest airline, will begin showing nature photos and sounds and offer guided meditations on their onboard televisions from the Calm Meditational app starting October 8th. This way, you can focus on specific body parts to relieve stress and tension. Headspace, another meditational app, is on board 11 airlines, including Delta, United, and Virgin Atlantic. But I have an idea. Why don't the airlines make travel great so we don't need a meditational app? Or at the very least, give us one free drink. New research indicates that the gig economy, say driving for Uber, isn't paying off like it used to. But there are gigs where the payout is increasing. JP Morgan Chase has released very interesting numbers about the gig economy, or people making their own wages doing things on the side. More people than ever are taking Uber or Lyft. And despite that, on average, Uber and Lyft drivers earned 53% less in 2017 than they did in 2013. Uber and Lyft say this is because more people are driving part-time. On the other hand, people renting out things, say their home using Airbnb, a car using Turo, or a parking space using Parkly, have seen their incomes rise about 70% during the same time. One thing's for sure, there are all kinds of side hustles. Last count, there are 128 different platforms in the gig economy.
Okay, this story is just odd. We've been talking a lot about autonomous vehicles lately, and for good reason. Tons of companies have been working on self-driving cars for years now. You may have even seen a few of them out on the streets already. But you won't believe who was thinking about getting into the self-driving car business now. IKEA. Yep, you heard me right, IKEA. It recently revealed 7 virtual concepts that detail its vision for the future of driving. The ideas came from the furniture giant's research and development department called Space 10. It's more focused on what's going on inside the vehicle than other manufacturers seem to be. That's where the concepts come in. They're more like cars with themes. An IKEA rep said, "The real potential of self-driving cars isn't our ability to drive without having our hands on the wheel. It's in what we'll be able to do with our experience inside the self-driving car." One concept car is called Cafe, and one will be designed as a coffee shop on wheels. It would let people get away from the stress of traffic jams and socialize over a latte while on the way to work or home. Another cool concept is called Play. This one is a small room on wheels where people can play augmented reality games, some of which will be tied into the car's surroundings. This would be huge for Pokemon Go fans. The other 5 concepts are farm, healthcare, hotel, office, and shop. Want to get a closer look at the designs? There's an app for that. At least there is an app for Apple users. It's called Space 10, and it lets you explore the latest IKEA research and experiments. Who knew IKEA was working on such high-tech stuff? As long as I don't have to put it together.
Well, up next, are you creeped out by ads that seem to follow you around the internet? It's happening because Google gathers tons of data on what you're up to. Here's Kim to explain.
Have you ever wondered how certain ads on the internet just seem to know a lot about you? If you're a new mom, you'll get ads for baby monitors. If you're an older guy, your ads might be geared towards your love life. Every time you search for something, every time you watch a YouTube video, and everywhere you go, Google gathers new data about you. When you sign into your Google account, there are some specific settings you probably didn't know existed until now. That's okay. Most people don't go digging around in here. Deep in your account settings, you'll find something called ad personalization. This is where you can manipulate the ads that you see. For example, you may see that one of your interests is American football. If that topic or others aren't of interest, click on the topic and then click Turn Off. If you're still creeped out about Google knowing too much private information about you, you can turn off Google's ad targeting. Hit my column about this topic for the exact steps. Now remember, you're not turning off the ads. You'll still see advertisements when you're on Google sites. They just won't be targeted to all of your personal information. I'm America's Digital Pro, Kim Commando, and now you're up to date. And I'm sure you want to learn more. So listen to my other podcasts or let them come to you in the free Commando.com app, which you can get at iTunes and Google Play. Just search for KOMANDO on your favorite podcast player. And join me this weekend for my national radio show. I answer your questions about everything digital, and I'm sure you have at least a few. For the station nearest you, head over to Commando.com/radio. That's KOMANDO.com/radio.